Hi, everyone. Welcome to Transform Your Impact. My name is Alexa Henderson, and today I am interviewing an amazing man. He is a Renaissance man, an international man of business, Yonnick Jones. And this is Transform Your Impact. So we're talking with entrepreneurs, creatives, and visionaries about what they do in their lives to make the biggest impact. So we want to pass on all the awesome information and knowledge to you. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll start you off here, Yonnick. How are you?
I'm doing great. Happy to be in sunny Miami during this weather, even though I'm a little under the weather.
Oh, nice. Awesome. I'm jealous. Will you tell us a little bit about what you've got going on here? It looks a little industrial.
Yeah, so so behind me, I'm actually in my home office, but I call it a warehouse because behind me I have one product which is my company LaBelle V, and we sell like luxury roses and macaroons as a combination. And then in front of me is my desk, which has a lot of paperwork and receipts and all that kind of stuff on it, which is all related to Jones Company, which is a management consulting firm. So I got the best of both worlds behind me and in front of me.
Awesome. I love it. So it sounds like a lot of business. You've got a lot of businesses going on at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to give a little bit of a background, I started Jones Company first. I started that in 2015. So I'm going into, well, this is my fourth year. I'll be going into my fifth year around May. And believe me, entrepreneurship has not always been easy. It started off kind of on shaky ground, but I believe in myself, so it was something that developed and built over time. At this point, I'm very thankful to have a team. It's not a huge team, but I do have a few people that hang out with me, and they believe in what my vision is, and I believe in them, and they uplift me 100%. So that's pretty cool. And then LaBelle V came about 2 years after Jones Company started, and it actually came from a love that I had deep down inside of me with this young lady. She inspired this whole thing, and
Awesome.
here we are. We're still moving. The roses are really unique because they last a year, and we can do all sorts of colors from green, red, purple, gold, you name it, we can do it. If you go to our site, you'll see it. But we also have macaroons that come with it. So a macaroon, in case you don't know, is a French pastry. And it's a delicacy there in France and also here. So it's something that you probably wouldn't eat every single day or buy every week, like Oreo cookies. It's not an Oreo cookie, but something a little bit higher. Definitely a French pastry for sure.
You've been quoted as being an international entrepreneur. Will you
Yeah.
tell us about what's the international thing all about?
So my international studies started in Paris, France. I was there for a little over a year doing a study abroad program. And while I was there, I was also playing basketball. So I had a really unique experience. And I finished undergrad there, actually.
Awesome.
And I came back to the States. And during the time that I was working, I also um, got like a pre-master's certificate at Columbia University
Awesome.
in New York, which was really cool. And I got a chance to meet some really incredible people during that time period. And then took my talents, as LeBron James would say, I took my talents back overseas, and I got my MBA in finance at the University of Bologna. And so I was in Italy for 2 months, and or sorry, 2 years, excuse me. I was in Italy for 2 years, and during that time in Italy, I had a chance to work because we had to have an internship, but I also had a chance to consult thereafter. So that's kind of where my international experience started. But I also had an internship in Montreal, Canada. So I've learned to pick up a few languages over the course of these like past 9 years, both in French and also Italian. And believe it or not, here in Miami, I would say 83% of our clients are foreign entrepreneurs.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah, so what we teach uh, basically from the human resource aspect is how to culturally get involved with the states as a from a business perspective, right? So you have a lot of companies that come from all over the world. These entrepreneurs, they have dreams to have the American dream, and you can have the American dream, but you have to have it with American people, right? And so, so teaching these entrepreneurs how to bridge that cultural gap was and has been uh, the success of our business so far.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
through recruiting and also through like leadership training.
Yeah, I would love to talk more about like specifically like what is the Jones staffing company? I mean, you're up to great things with that. So
Absolutely. So typically we enter companies through like a recruiting, let's say, platform or negotiation, if you will, because we believe that truly it doesn't matter necessarily the talent of the person that you have working beside you. It really matters the personality. So we really focus on how to build teams through personality versus skill set. Of
mm,
course, if we're recruiting for you, we're going to find the best skilled person. That's a given. But you can find the most skilled person with the worst personality, and hey, you don't have a team. So we really like to think of our strategy as like building a sports team.
mm,
Um, I think any sports team that wins the championship in any particular year, they had the best nucleus of personalities because all of the guys can play ball. Every team has good ball players, but it's just a matter of how did the front office, how did the coach, how did the players, how did they all mesh to create a championship environment, and then from there we see the team that rises to the top. So if your business goal is to raise $1 million or to grow in numbers in terms of people, or to, I don't know, to manufacture something new and creative, you got to have the right teammates for that. So we come in through recruitment, and then we kind of do organizational design, which allows you to see the growth of your company from an outside perspective.
wow, that's awesome. Wow, that's
Yeah,
like many multifaceted approaches there for
absolutely.
and you're like really at the helm of that, right?
No doubt about it. So, so like the really cool thing is, and I want to thank I don't know if I should call him my mentor or what, but my ex boss, excuse me, my ex boss, uh, he really taught me how to make money. In the corporate world, they teach you, systems and how to actually make money. And so with that training and with the passion of having human interaction, I created the Jones Company. And so uh, this gentleman, he's an author, he's a coach, he's all of these great things. He's also an international entrepreneur, and I saw the way he was running his business. And although we had some positive disagreements, and which was the reason why I transitioned out, we still work together throughout the world. So even in Europe, I just started an office in Paris, France, and we have a partnership with a group in Italy. So I mean, we're continuously developing. I love Europe, if you can't tell already. Definitely has a unique place in my heart, but for sure. The connective glue between relationships. That's how I built this company. That's how it's going to continue to build. Nothing is different under the sun, I guess you could say, because relationships is what builds everything. Although technology is great, I know we don't want the robots to take over. So we have to continue to believe in, mankind, and continue to work together to put people to work, which helps our economy. Continue to build healthy relationships, which also helps our community. So
I
that's
love
what
that.
we're all about.
I love that. Yeah, there was a quote in the Miami publication that was about you focusing on building people up, right?
Yeah.
Through relationships. And so will you tell us a little bit more? Because that's a lot of what you're doing is leadership, right?
Oh
Really?
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it is. You know what? So I've got a little cousin. This is a little side story. So I've got a little cousin, and she's 18 now, so she's no longer little, I guess you could say. But when she was 7, I remember she came to me and she basically drew what I would call scribble scrabble on a piece of paper, and she said, "Oh, look, I drew a tree." And I'm like, whoa, beautiful. I was like, wow, that's really beautiful, and I complimented her and I said, wow, that's a beautiful tree. And then she came back to me a few years later when she was like 12, and she was like, oh, look at my tree now, and the tree that she drew at 12 and 7 were completely different trees, right? But now at 18, she's an artist, 100%. So I want to make this clear to leaders and entrepreneurs is that when you do build people up and you commend them on what they're good at, they continue to do that thing well and even better. They become the expert at that thing. So I use my little cousin as an example. Over her 11-year lifetime period that we've had this drawing of a tree going on, she's developed a real skill set just by saying, great job, go back and do it again. So I would challenge all entrepreneurs to build your people up wherever they're weak. That's why you hire guys like us.
So will you tell us, like, what's your vision with the ventures that you're up to? Like, what's the end game, or what are you most excited about that's on the horizon right now?
LaBelle V, it would be great to actually build it up at a certain level that it does become a company that adds on a lot more products. And maybe at some point down the future, if it becomes extremely successful, I would love to sell it. But for Jones Company, I think it's something that's going to continue to be a legacy. It has my last name on it. So I see that being something that I want to continue to grow. As I grow, it should grow. As the people that work with the organization, they should grow, it should grow. And hopefully we can, influence more people across the world. My awareness as a young person has always been pretty high. And I grew up playing sports, of course, basketball, football. I ran track. I went to college on a football scholarship. So I've been encompassed into a full entitlement of wonderful things, that my teachers gave me, my parents, my community. And I always saw it as a place where I had the responsibility to do well. It was never a question of will I do well. It's just how well will I do,
I love
Yeah.
that.
And
Awesome.
so the other really unique thing about my story, I would say, I'm the 4th generation in my family to have a master's degree or higher. So both of my grandmothers were PhDs, which is really cool. My great-grandmother on my father's side was a PhD. So, we come from an educated background, which I think stems a lot of curiosity as you grow. How do people do this? Why did that happen? How can we improve on this? And so the most important thing I believe is just building those relationships, whether it was in sports, whether it was in the classroom, whether it's just in the community at church, just building relationships has seemed to be my thing.
Awesome.
So to a professional level.
Yeah. You're like, let's benefit everybody and make some money while doing it, right?
That's it. That's it. That's it. So it's a really cool thing. And I would be remiss to say, like, my sister has a talent that I don't have. She gets on stage every day, every night. She's been on and off Broadway, and she can transform into anybody, on stage. And so, like, I super commend her in that, because that's an industry in itself that's really tough, where people are judging you, judging your performance. Did she perform well? She got into Yale University as well, their conservatory program, where super competitive. 5,000 people apply, and they only choose 10 students.
Wow.
Or something like that. So super competitive spirit, but a spirit that's open to criticism. And I think that's something that both of my parents opened us up to, is like, it's okay to be criticized, because criticism is gonna help you rise to the top. One of the key elements to our leadership training, right? We start our training off with mindset. We talk about the mindset. Are you in a growth place or a fixed place? And once we do a few exercises, it helps me understand who's challenged in the room and who's not, or who's more open, right? So the mindset is clearly something that I'm sure every entrepreneur that you're going to talk to, or every leader you talk to in your series, they will probably have the right mindset of where they got to and how they got there, you know? So it is definitely a mental game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think like the general public is getting more privy to this as we get more information about emotional intelligence, and the Harvard Business Review comes out and talks about how success is couched on mindset, really.
Absolutely. And you can't be afraid to keep learning. I tell my team all the time, I don't have all of the answers. We're going to have to do some trial and error. And sometimes we might get fired. Sometimes we'll be successful. You know, whatever the outcome, we have to try it. Right. So, trial and error is real. No one person has all the solutions. Next week, I'm going to, I don't know if you've heard of this gentleman. His name is Grant Cardone.
Yes.
Real estate mogul, motivational speaker, etc. They're having a 10X conference here next weekend, and I was gifted a ticket to go. So I'm definitely going to go so I can keep sharpening my tool to get better, right? And I believe every leader, every person in every organization should continue to learn, and they shouldn't be fixed thinking that they have all the answers or solutions, because honestly, you don't. You know, I wasn't planning on going initially, but I had another podcast interview last week that went really well. And one of the hosts was like, dude, you're incredible. I've got an extra ticket. Do you want to come? And I was like, for sure. When you make relationships with people, it's more about what they get out of the deal versus what you'll get out of it. And I think the best example I can give you is this relationship that you and I are having. I want to be sure that your business and your venture goes extremely well, because if it does, vice versa, I will also win, right? I win by default. If you're doing well, I also win, right? So I think people have to be selfish in helping other people. See, people think about being selfish as a self-improved circumstance, when really being selfish for someone else improves your circumstance. And so that's where I believe the future is all about. That's why they have all of these co-working spaces. That's why we're here on this line right now. That's why Instagram exists. That's why influencers exist, because you have to be selfish to help someone else. And then by default, you also win. So that's where I am.
I love it. And it's working out.
Yeah. And it works out. And when people see that you come with a genuine spirit, they're willing to be more open. It's not about filling your pockets, or, I mean, of course, economics matters. You're going to make money. You know, you're going to spend money. You're going to lose money. But if you change your thought process about money, because you're going to do that anyway. I really want to express that to people. You're going to make money. We all going to make some money. I am a capitalist. I love making money, but but the truth is that you have to really position yourself where you're helping other people, and the money will flow to you more than you could imagine.
You know, if there was one thing that you could pass on that's transformed your impact more than anything else, what would you say that that's been?
Continue to be patient, continue to believe in yourself, and also continue to listen. The last thing, and Alexa, I appreciate you for having me for sure, is this. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, yeah, so pretty.
So here we have a 12-pack of macaroons, La Belle Vie, which in French means the good life, because that's what we're living, the good life. We've got several different flavors. We've got pistachio, we've got tiramisu, we've got Nutella, we've got birthday cake. The list goes on. We've got, what do you call this, pumpkin spice. So I'm giving each of you an opportunity to get a 12-pack for free. If you go to our website, you got to also join our email list, and then at checkout, you're going to use the promo code TRANSFORM which is all related to what's happening here today. We're transforming lives, we're transforming and impacting people, and you will receive one of these 12 packs of macaroon.
And that's transform all caps.
All caps, for sure.
And
Okay.
your website is labellev-xo.com.
That's correct. That's correct. So you can find us at LaBelleV, LABELLEV as in Victor, IE -XO.com. And or you can follow us on Instagram at labellev.xo.
I love it.
And you
Okay.
can order from Instagram too. So
Oh, sweet. Perfect. Love it. So yes, you heard it from the man, the international man of business himself. Go get your macaroons right away. And thank you so much for being on the show. It's been awesome to pick your brain.
thank
And
you for having me.
yeah, and thank you listeners or viewers for coming onto the show, and please stay tuned for more amazing humans that are going to be giving them secrets to success away for all of us to enjoy. Thank you so much.
Awesome.